Suprabhat friends, Jai Hind. The world has been confronted with a very serious challenge ever since Hamas attacked Israel. So, this is going to be the topic of my video today. Firstly, a disclaimer: the views expressed in this video are mine only, and they cannot be attributable to anyone else. Also, the information which I have collected and which I will be using in this video, they are all available in open source. Now, having said that, so what has happened? Hamas, which is the governing faction in the Gaza Strip, it's a small piece of land which borders the southern portion of Israel. They attacked Israel, and they massacred a lot of Israelis. As a result of that, Israel has started the bombardment, and they are getting ready probably for a ground incursion into Gaza. You're all aware of this, and all the news channels are covering it both nationally as well as internationally. Now, I want to get a couple of things into the right perspective for all of you, those who are watching this video. Now, what exactly has happened? I'll not get into the details of, how many people were involved and how many people have died, because those information, that data is not available. It's all basically the figures keep changing every 2 3 hours. So I'm not getting into the details of what happened. Everybody is aware of it, and all the news channels and the media, they are all covering it. I want to address basically 3 4 issues. The first is, how did this happen? Yes, obviously it was an intelligence failure on the part of Israel. Now, Israel has got basically three prominent intelligence agencies. One is the Mossad, which is responsible for external intelligence. The other is Shin Bet, which is for internal security. And the third is Aman, which is basically the military intelligence. Other than that, they have their Air Force intelligence, the Naval Directorate, and a number of other agencies. But primarily, these are the three: the Mossad, the Shin Bet, and Aman. Now, all three of these agencies failed to give actionable operational input to the Israeli government and to the IDF. IDF is Israeli Defense Forces. Now, of course, there is going to be a lot of research after this entire thing has calmed down, and a lot of people are going to analyze as to why this thing happened, how it can be prevented. My very simple and humble take on this is, you see, Israel has got the most sophisticated surveillance devices anywhere in the world. They have cameras installed everywhere along the border. They are extremely adept in electronic surveillance measures, in electronic warfare. They are, or rather, they have been able to penetrate each and every terrorist organization which is a threat to them up till now. In spite of all this, they failed to sort of preempt this horrific attack on them. I will give you one very simple reason why it may have happened. Nobody actually knows. Probably once the Israeli government does a research analysis of this, and if at all it is declared to the public, then probably we may come to know. But my very simple take on this is this: you see, human intelligence plays a very important role even today. Yes, you have surveillance devices, you have phone tapping measures, you have cameras installed everywhere. You can monitor you can track the movement of terrorist leaders and commanders and the foot soldiers also. Everything is fine. But you require human intelligence even today. Understood? I think, in my very humble opinion, I think the Israelis failed to analyze the human int, whatever was being provided to them. If at all, some credible human int was being provided to them by their agents, by their sources. Because such a massive operation could not have happened without proper planning, proper rehearsal, proper mock drills being carried out, proper logistics, arms, ammunition, vehicles, equipment. All these things had to be coordinated at a very, very high level. Without this coordination, without this planning, without this rehearsal, without mock drills being carried out, such an attack is not possible anywhere in this world. All right. So I am sure when all these things were being carried out, I am very sure the Israeli int agencies would have got some, some credible inputs from their agents, from their sources, that, something like this is happening. But they may not have given due value to this. You see, one more thing I want to highlight is, for a lead to develop into operational intelligence, it takes a while, especially if it is coming from human int sources. It takes a while. You see, if you are tapping someone's phone, it's a very live input. Somebody is saying something, you are hearing it, and that's enough. But if your agent or source is giving you some input or intelligence which is primarily his own, like he has seen it or he has heard it, and then he is giving it to you, it takes a while for this input to develop into operational intelligence. People are referring to the 1973 Yom Kippur War, which happened about 50 years back, 5 decades ago. I want all of you to see a movie called The Angel. It is based on true facts, true incidents. This is basically the movie of a very senior Egyptian official who quotes the Israeli agency, who quotes basically the Mossad, and how he keeps giving, input to the Israelis that there is a war imminent, there is a war imminent. But the Israelis are the ones who actually don't believe him. And when in 1973 the war actually takes place, they realize that whatever input was given by this Egyptian official, very, very high official, was actually true. So watch that movie, The Angel. It's a beautiful movie based on true incidents. Something like that I visualize may have happened now. People would have told the Israeli agencies, see, something is happening. People are moving around. People are training. They are conducting this drill, that drill. Something is happening. But the Israelis had become complacent. That is the point to be noted. The Israelis had become complacent because they thought Hamas would never do such a thing. They were not capable of doing such a thing. You see, and the other aspect is why they had become complacent was that, they had issued work permits to the people of Gaza to come into Israel and work. That was the level of, their complacency, that they had given work permits to the residents of Gaza, saying you can come over into Israel and work and then go back. So, obviously this was helping whom? All this was helping the Hamas, because people coming into Israel, watching everything, going back, were basically the informants of Hamas. They were giving variable, credible inputs to them to formulate a plan. You see, it's very simple. In intelligence, sphere, you need to take every single input seriously, whether it matters to you today or not. It may not matter to you today, but it may matter to you after 5 years, after 10 years down the line. You should never ever discard any input without analyzing it properly. So what I feel is that the Israelis did receive inputs, but they had become a little too complacent. They never thought such an attack could ever happen. And the Hamas had timed it beautifully well. They timed this entire attack during one of their holiday seasons, and when everybody was busy partying and celebrating. So this is what I personally feel, because you see there is no other explanation to this, because Israelis are very adept in electronic surveillance measures. They have the state of the art equipment, they have the highly trained manpower to monitor everything that they require. They have been targeting terrorist leaders driving in cars from an F-16. I mean, that is the nature of their capability. So the only way in which I can see this thing having happened the way it has happened is, they did receive inputs, but they had become a little complacent, saying that, oh, nothing can happen to us. This sort of a thing cannot happen to us. In this, one more thing I want to say. You see, no matter whomsoever you are, no matter whom your enemy is, no matter where you are situated, you cannot afford to sleep with the enemy. Your enemy is your enemy, whomsoever you may be. And whomsoever your enemy may be, your enemy is your enemy. If you sleep with the enemy, or if you try to befriend your enemy, he is going to crush you. So this is one aspect which I wanted to highlight. And of course, along with this, like I said, the reason for this failure is that the Israelis had become a little complacent, and they had sort of started accepting the fact that the Palestinians can come in and go out, and come in and go out and work, and we have given them work permits, and nothing is going to happen. So all this sort of facilitated the Hamas, and the Israelis were at a disadvantage, because they were actually giving away inputs which they should not have given. Okay, now this is one aspect. The second aspect is, now of course, the present stalemate. No, it's not a stalemate actually. It's a pause, you can say, because everybody is talking about a land incursion into Gaza. Then they are talking about Hezbollah joining. Then they're talking about Iran joining. They're analyzing what America is going to do. You see, all this is all basically playing out simultaneously as of now. Now, just a little background. Hamas controls the Gaza Strip. All right. West Bank, which is a little ahead further, that is governed by the Palestinian Authority. Majorly, I'm just giving you a broad, overlay of things. Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon, shares the northern border with Israel. Okay. Now, let me tell you, Hezbollah is much more stronger, much more well armed, more financed than Hamas. But Hezbollah has been fighting the Israelis since a very, very long time. And when two enemies fight each other for a very long time, they know their strength and weaknesses. In my very humble opinion, I don't think Hezbollah is going to join. They may have, they'll keep firing rockets here and there. They may conduct one or two small strikes here and there just to take advantage of the situation. Who doesn't want to take advantage of when your enemy is down? But I personally do not do not see Hezbollah joining this conflict, because they know fully well the capability of the IDF. They know the IDF has the capability for fighting on two fronts. Yes, there is one possibility in which Hezbollah can join. That is if Iran throws its weight. Now, Iran and Syria are the two major backers of Hezbollah. Now, if Iran throws its weight, then probably things can become a little, murkier. But then, even then, I don't suppose Hezbollah joining, because if Hezbollah joins, then US gets involved. Because if Hezbollah joins, Iran gets involved. If Iran gets involved, then the US gets involved. So then the matter is closed, because US has already sent a carrier strike group into the area, and I'm sure the diplomatic channels have been working overtime ever since the last 4 or 5 days, and they have made it very very clear to Hezbollah not to join this conflict. So that is the second aspect. I personally feel there is going to be a ground incursion, a land incursion by the IDF, because Israel cannot tolerate such an attack without doing anything. Yes, as of now, they are going in for aerial bombardments and destroying a couple of infrastructure, but that is not enough. Israel has to maintain its status as the premier nation in that region, as the premier military authority and power in that nation. How can it do that? It can do that only via a land incursion. So Israel will definitely, if not today, tomorrow, they will definitely go into Gaza. And after that, it all depends, because the problem with this land incursion is only one. Gaza is a very very small piece of land where you have about 2.5 million people staying. Now basically it is not going to be a conventional warfare with two sides facing each other and fighting. No, it is not going to be like that. It is basically urban warfare in its deadliest form. The IDF will have to, go basically after a point where, when their tanks and the armored personnel carriers cannot go ahead, the IDF will have to go street by street, house by house, clearing the militants and fighting them. So it's going to be a very, very arduous battle, very tough battle, and in which Hamas will definitely suffer a hell of a lot of casualties, but the IDF will also suffer casualties. But like I said, they have no other option, because they have to maintain their status as the primary military force in this region. So that is one. The other way is that, the other point which I want to convey is that, how do you think so this entire, see, Hamas has got no business. I mean, economically, it is bankrupt. It doesn't run any business other than the mom's business. Okay? So economically they are bankrupt. So is Lebanon. How do Hezbollah, Hamas, the Islamic Jihad, how do they get money to buy these weapons, motors, rockets, missiles, vehicles? How do they get the money? From where do they get the money? This is what everybody should be asking. You'll be surprised to know it is the Western world, the US and Europe, which provide the maximum funding to these people. Yes, Iran is their main backer officially. Iran backs Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad. Iran is their main backer officially. But you see, even the European Union, the EU, and the US provide so-called humanitarian aid to all these factions. You mean to say all the money goes in humanitarian work? No, 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 no. It is not like that. Iran can't afford, funding them to the extent that each and every, right down to the single bullet, is bought by money funded by Iran. No, it is the Western world which funds. It is the liberal Western world which funds all these organizations. You'll be surprised to know this. In the name of humanitarian aid, yes, a lot of money goes to buy food, medicine, supplies, etc., fuel, etc. But then a lot of money is also diverted for purchase of all these, ammunition, weapons, and all other infrastructure which is required to fight a war. So that is one aspect which I wanted to highlight. And now, what is the way ahead? Like the way ahead, and let me just summarize this. You see, in the way ahead, and this is basically, you see, there is a pause as of today, and one more thing I wanted to highlight. You see, America has not, as per the news reports, America has not, told Israel to hold back. America has basically what we are getting to understand is Americans have told the Israelis, you go ahead and do whatever you have to do. Why? Because as of today, you have 14 Americans who have been killed, and I don't know how many have been taken hostage or are missing. You see, like I said, the figures are being revised every 2, 3 hours because, men, women, elderly, children, their bodies are being recovered from everywhere. So, as of now, 14 Americans have been killed. Now, America may be a very liberal government. The Democratic Party may be a very liberal party, left-leaning party, but even cannot, they cannot justify even a single American life which is lost. That is one thing which is in the American ethos, which is there in the American political establishment and their culture. The government of the day will have to justify every single American life which has been lost to terrorism outside of America, especially, and every single American life which is lost fighting for America outside. So as of now, 14 Americans have been killed. Large number of people of American origin or citizenship are missing. So that's why I say America is not going to hold back Israel. Russia, on the other hand, is busy. Mr. Putin is very busy in Ukraine, so he wants to finish off Ukraine as early as possible. So so we are left with basically Israel fighting Hamas. It's going to be a one-and-on fight. And if Hamas gets support from outside, then Israel also will get support from outside. So that is how it's going to be. Israel has already amassed about 3 lakh troops along their border, the entire border, north, south, both. And so let's see what happens. The coming days will come to know what is going to be the outcome and the direction and course of battle. So basically, I wanted to highlight these 2, 3 major aspects. So please do keep watching my video, and it's basically my own analysis based on all open source information that is available. So please do keep watching, and I'll come back soon with another video on this challenging times in the Middle East. Till then, take care. Bye.